You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. You know, as Rebelpreneurs and business owners, we have to overcome all kinds of challenges. Some of the challenges are external. Some of the things we have no control over. Some of the things are internal, our mindset. And I'm a big believer that it's not what happens to you, but it's how you choose to respond that makes the difference between success and failure. Now, someone who really exemplifies that is today's guest. I'm speaking with Roman Prokopchuk. He is the founder of Nova Zora Digital. He's the host of the Digital Savage Experience podcast. He's a foster parent and a first-generation immigrant from Ukraine. Roman, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the invite.
Well, it's your story is really interesting. You are a first-generation immigrant from Ukraine. You had to overcome quite a few challenges to get to the U.S. and then to be able to make a successful business. Tell us a little bit about your story and your background.
So I came to the United States when I was 5, but getting here basically meant going through a somewhat of a process. So I came here when Ukraine was still under the Soviet Union. So leaving Ukraine, it was this like abstract process where when you did leave, you kind of forfeited your existing citizenship and were only allowed to take what you could carry and some other stuff, some currency and whatnot. But if you owned a home, you would have to leave that behind, or any like significant, obviously, property like a car. So we went, basically you had to go through during that time in 1990 through Vienna, Austria in terms of a first stop, then Rome, Italy, and then finally coming here. And to come here, you needed a sponsor, basically a close or distant family member or a friend that basically was willing to vouch for you the first few weeks and take any responsibility for, financial or otherwise. So I came with 6 other family members, my parents, my grandparents, my aunt, and my brother. And we stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment for a while. Then everybody basically had to work. My grandmother and grandfather were already retired at the time in Ukraine. So when we came here, they had to work again. And that's how I got to the United States, basically.
Now, it says that you graduated with a degree in criminal justice, but that didn't work out for you. What happened with that, and how did you use that to your advantage?
So I graduated in 2007, 2008, where the economy basically tanked. So any state, local, and federal agencies, mainly law enforcement that I was interested in, basically put a freeze on hiring and cut budgets. So at that point, before I graduated, I had a internship with the Secret Service. I had a top secret clearance. I went on protective duties, basically in charge of taking in different counterfeit currency and processing it to be investigated by agents, going out to the range with them and stuff like that, which was a cool experience. But at that point, I applied for months and months and no one was hiring. So I was kind of down for a while, and then I actually ran into a person at the gym, which basically kept me sane, going to the gym every day and kind of just releasing that, negative energy. And they saw that, I was intelligent and I was hardworking and ambitious. And they basically said, hey, my company needs digital marketing. And they handed me a packet. It was actually about search engine optimization, and basically said, read this and then go online and read up some more. And basically, I took about 2 months to learn as much as I could and kind of jumped into it head first. Helped out that person for about 2 months, and then they kind of ran out of budget. So I put my resume out there and I got hired by a company called LexisNexis. I was there for about 4 years, and after which held a few other director roles. And in 2012 founded Nova Zora Digital, which is a full service digital marketing agency, helping clients in different verticals. And mainly focusing, I started in search engine optimization, and then basically went from that pillar to the general ecosystem of digital marketing. So paid search, social, paid social, and all the other digital marketing disciplines.
I really love your story because it illustrates how we often set out on our journey. And I think some people they become business owners, maybe not by accident, but not necessarily by intention. We have kind of an idea of where we would like to go, but the economy doesn't go the way we want, or different things happen, and you kind of find yourself in a position of starting a business because that's what you have to do to survive. But then when you apply yourself, you learn to go beyond survival, and you actually begin to create value. So you self-taught you were self-taught in digital marketing and SEO and all of these other roles that you have conducted. You founded your own agency. So you've come quite a long way. Tell us a little bit more about what you do for people today, and who is your ideal prospect?
So I started in the field of legal, so helping law firms, small, medium, and large-sized law firms around the country with LexisNexis. And then I saw I didn't want to kind of pigeonhole myself into one vertical, but gain experience in several, then utilize and implement some things from one industry that another may not be using, and try it and see if it worked. So then I went into biotech and pharma, financial services, health and fitness, e-commerce, different B2B companies, and mainly search engine optimization. So that includes on-site, which is, content strategy, internal linking, metadata, anything front end. Offsite, which is link acquisition and kind of authority building, and then the technical aspects in terms of understanding the load time, decreasing bounce rates, and any technical focus that's tied into all the aspects of the Google algorithm. And then as well as focusing on social strategy. So we've done social strategy for fitness brands running their social campaigns, whether it be paid or organic social, community outreach, content development, analytics, some website design and development, and paid search as well. So kind of that's the core.
Yeah, so this sounds like some really complicated and technical stuff. Do you only work with large companies, or do smaller businesses benefit from your services as well?
Well, I mean, I try to get a specific like clientele. So nothing smaller than, I would say, $5,000 a month, but not to say that I want to kind of leave a legacy for myself and who I am. So a lot of the times smaller businesses will contact me, and then I'll free of charge. I'll jump on a call or, a Skype video conference, or meet in person for a cup of coffee or at a networking event. And then they tell me what the business problem is, where they stand. And I offer them, several solutions, or what they should or could be doing, and give them some kind of guidance there. So, I mean, just because a business is a small business doesn't mean that I'm not willing to at least give advisement free of charge to kind of put some, good in the universe, and hopefully karma will come back to me in one way or another.
And no matter what size the business is, I think any business can benefit from learning how to better market themselves and take advantage of the digital and the technical tools that we have available to us today. Well, that's interesting, because it leads me up then to the next question. With all the different businesses that you work with and the different industries, is there a common problem that you see over and over again when you're helping people with their digital marketing and SEO strategies?
Just hiring the wrong people and listening to people that promise the world, kind of get on first page in a month or two or a specific amount of time. There's no set amount of time basically to get on a first page of a search engine or focusing on one thing that, may not be effective for that business or whatever problem they have, only simply selling something just to sell it. A lot of agencies are somewhat cookie cutter and kind of sell plans and not customize or tailor a campaign to a business needs. So finding whoever you're, work with or hire someone in-house that delivers value and understands that business and the value of that business and treats that business as their own to a certain extent.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. That maybe they're not doing right now, but if you were to sit down with someone, what are some of the things we need to look at in terms of maybe 3 or 4 tips you can give us that would really make a difference in our digital marketing?
Small business wise, local search. So your Google local listing, to make sure you at least have it claimed, because a lot of businesses still don't have it claimed, and setting a radius around your business for that, making sure and checking on what kind of reviews you're getting. Are those genuine reviews? Or those spammy reviews by just people leaving negative reviews in terms of a small business? Another thing, a lot of small businesses don't necessarily focus on social media, but with the power of hashtags and tagging location, it oftentimes is a great avenue for a small business, and especially if they're product focused on platforms like Instagram, Facebook still, and mainly that, but depends what your clientele is. And also basically going where your audience is. So you don't necessarily, if you don't have the time or the bandwidth, be on every single platform. If you're obviously a B2B platform, you want to focus on LinkedIn and advertising on LinkedIn, whereas maybe you're a small business, an ice cream shop or something of that nature, and then I would focus on Facebook and Instagram. So it's basically figuring out where your target audience spends their time online and market to them there. From a social perspective, if you are also optimizing your website for organic search, basically optimizing it and making sure you have a strategy in place to at least target your core focus. Sometimes you don't have the budget in-house or an agency for additional content, but just making sure you have the right things and it's properly functional. Sometimes if you do want to check it on yourself, there are a lot of free website graders. So just run your URL of your website through a website grader to just get an idea. Obviously, it's not set in stone or the law, but just get an idea where that stands and kind of understand the health of your website. And I think that's kind of a good start, having or at least having a website in general. There's still businesses in 2019 that don't even have a website.
It's hard to believe.
So if you don't have a website, that's the first thing I would probably start with. But if you do have a website, making sure it's responsive and mobile friendly, because with Google, they have mobile first indexing now. So if you're not, optimized or optimal for mobile searches, they're not going to render you on top of their mobile first index in terms of ranking. So considerations like that. And then when you do have a website, focusing on stuff like conversion rate optimization. So you're getting traffic now, but the traffic isn't converting. So what's going on the website itself? What can I fix? What can I redesign? Can I move a form somewhere? Can I switch a video placement to better convert the traffic you are getting to your website?
Excellent. You wrote a blog a few months ago called 5 SEO Trends for 2019. It's very interesting. One of the points you had on there is video optimization. Can businesses really do anything with video? And if so, what do you recommend that they should be doing, and where should those videos be?
Well, video is still a great medium. Video and audio, like we're talking today, audio is great and keeps expanding. But video, when you have a video, that video can be repurposed. So let's say you make a long form video, an hour video about several products or about an event you were attending or speaking on. That video can then be broken down into several smaller videos to utilize on social, or utilize on highlights on your website, or utilize as video ads. So if you create a core piece of content like that, you can repurpose it on several platforms and basically support that piece of content. But in terms of your go-to video platform, YouTube, and YouTube ads are still heavily underpriced. So if you do, let's say, have $100, $200 to test, obviously that's somewhat of a small budget to get an accurate measurement of success if you're running something. But if you do have a video or a branded video, that's definitely a good place to start if you're going the paid route.
I think a lot of our listeners, maybe not all, but some people really get into this, and then others that are maybe thinking, I'm already in over my head. I just don't see how to figure this stuff out. And that's exactly where I think someone like you, Roman, can come in and really make a difference. How would working with someone like you improve their chances for success, even if they're not into all of the tech stuff?
A lot of it isn't even tech focused. It's just best practices, what you should be going and doing as your business. So simple thing, by getting testimonials and reviews. A lot of businesses, business to consumer, business to business, negate that part of their company, and that's part of their brand. So honing in on things like that and just different best practices besides all kind of the technical campaign build out and anything technical that can be done to your website or any ad placements, just doing the right thing for your brand and improving your brand and the brand imprint online. So, I mean, you may be, the best thing in your space, but if nobody knows that or you don't highlight that, there's no way you're going to attract the right customers online.
Yeah, that's very true. We can have a great product, a great service, a great business, a great brand, but if people don't know that we exist or they can't find no one knows where it's coming from or who you are. Roman, you've got your hand in a lot of different projects, I'm sure. What are you working on right now that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I do stuff in terms of B2B space. So I work directly with a company called Cubic Consulting. So basically running the gambit of all of digital. So a lot of the efforts are focused on B2B. They are a IBM preferred partner and a big North America main partner in terms of planning analytics and other accolades in that space. So attracting basically visitors to go through trials and demos, and a large portion of that is attracting attendees to webinars and different workshops and things of that nature through social. So social for stuff like that, if you do have a B2B business, which they predominantly always run webinars and different informational sessions to promote that, social is a great place. The two best platforms that I've found are LinkedIn and Twitter. Twitter tends to be a little bit cheaper than LinkedIn. LinkedIn's been traditionally more on the expensive side in terms of CPM and CPC, in terms of cost per click and then cost per 1,000 impressions. So something like that, and just kind of working on creative, because it's at the end of the day, it's having a good product or good message, and then having the content or what the asset is to be memorable, and then how are you distributing that. So good content will never change, just that distribution method. Whether in 10 years there's not going to be social media, there's going to be virtual reality or augmented reality component that's more prominent, it'll still be good content over everything.
Good advice. How can our listeners reach out to you if they have a specific problem or a question, maybe that you can answer about digital marketing, SEO, or any of the other things that we talked about today? What's the best way to reach you?
Any social platform. If you Google my name, you can message me. You can email me at roman.prokopchuk@novazoradigital.com. Or you can go to LinkedIn as well. I have a lot of articles, or just like I said, just search for my name. You're going to have some of the articles I put out. You're going to find my podcast that covers a lot of digital marketing. digital marketing professionals. But anywhere online you find me, you can pretty much get to me.
And your Digital Savage Experience podcast, tell us a little bit about that.
So I started that as kind of a passion project. It was just me talking about my experiences in digital marketing, different case studies, talking about my experiences as a foster parent and what I went through with the state and different agencies and with children that were placed in my home. And then about 4 months ago, I switched over to more of an interview format. So you have entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders of marketing agencies, authors, different motivational speakers, just people with, stories to tell that talk about their journeys, where they started, how did they get here. A lot of them are turbulent. So, drug abuse, prison, getting out of that and becoming successful people in their field and in, their professional and personal lives, and basically inspiring the audience and giving pointers to the audience how they can get to where they are now and some bottlenecks they may be able to avoid in, the process.
Excellent. Well, your story is very inspiring, and it certainly motivates me to overcome whatever obstacles I see that I think are insurmountable. You have definitely faced down some tremendous obstacles to get to where you are, and so congratulations to you. Any final thoughts or maybe a word of wisdom that you would say to someone else who is struggling, trying to build their business or trying to scale it to the next level? What would you say to them?
I think it's just being grateful for one, being in the United States, even though, people complain about some of the political climate and some economy stuff. It's still the best economy to foster growth. If I was in Ukraine right now, I would not be where I am today or any other country. And just being grateful every day for simply waking up, because a lot of people don't wake up. So if you can wake up, you have the opportunity to change your path and change the direction. And if you just started a business or, going through pain points, businesses aren't made overnight. Sometimes you have to, quit and pivot in a different direction. And sometimes you have to persevere. But basically the key, as cliche as it may sound, is just never giving up.
Yeah, don't give up. Mental resilience, and a great example to follow from my guest, Roman Prokopchuk. He is the founder of Nova Zora Digital, the host of the Digital Savage Experience podcast. He's a foster parent and a first-generation immigrant from Ukraine. We'll have the website address on our page as well. It's Nova Zora Digital.com. Roman, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.